streaming. Brandon, am I good? Yes, thumbs up. Okay, cool. All right. So welcome. My name is Angela Johnson, and I'm the co-founder here at Fabric. Fabric is actually an acronym. It stands for the Fashion and Business Resource Innovation Center. And we're a phygital fashion innovation center, which means we combine physical and digital to create the resources that an apparel entrepreneur would need to be able to start a brand and manufacture their own products sustainably in small batches domestically. And this is a solution to the overseas unsustainable fast fashion model. It's an alternative to that because the fashion industry is pretty broken. And the more we make, the more ends up in our landfills. And, people don't value clothing the way that they used to. And so the price model is just this race to the bottom, and you end up with excess inventory made in overseas factories that ends up in our landfill, and that's why the whole thing is broken. And most of the factories are, usually unethical. That's the only way you can get those cheap prices. So by reshoring and by making things domestically in small batches, using technology to make it more sustainable, that's the solution to that. That's what we do here. That's what we focus on. So we help people be able to make those products and to use all that technology. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the benefits of a membership and what we do. If I can get my thing to work. Okay. We are democratizing fashion. So we're basically enabling anybody to get into fashion. You don't have to go to school and major in fashion design to start a fashion brand. You don't have to have all the skills to be able to digitally make patterns and grade them and, do all the stuff. You can come here and you don't have to have experience in being a production manager. Usually a brand has production managers, quality control managers, technical designers, and people on staff that are responsible for getting that idea made at a factory. So they go into the factory. They actually, they're the person that is there to make sure the fabric is correct or to make sure that the grading is accurate before the marker is made. They check the marker before the cuts get cut. They check the sewing as it's happening, and they measure parts of it, and they just confirm everything is good. That production management and quality control stuff is what most people have no clue how to do, but it's the most important thing in getting something made. So that's what we do, is we teach people how to navigate that and how to do all of that, because that's really the most important thing. It's even, everybody has good ideas, but can you get it made is the hardest part. And that production management is what it takes to be able to get something made. So that's why we say we democratize fashion, because we're enabling anybody without that experience to be able to do this, and without $1 million too, because it really does take a lot of money to manufacture clothing and meet minimums and everything. Welcome, come on in. So to be able to do it in small batches domestically is another way to democratize fashion for everybody who wants to get started. We do a lot of different things, and we use a lot of cool technology to be able to do all of this, because we feel like technology is the thing that's going to make it more sustainable, make it more affordable, make it more accessible for people. So technology like digital CAD software to make our patterns, technology like avatars to do the fittings of those patterns and to see what the garment's going to look like before we ever cut and sew it, so we're not wasting money and we're not wasting fabrics and we're not spending so much extra effort and time on it. So we digitally mock up samples. We can mock up cool, unique print designs on those samples and on those avatars. Those avatars can be used for marketing purposes. They can even be put in a cool setting, walking down the beach or something to, add that marketing effect that you need to really target your customer. And then you can play with colors, you can play with prints that way. You can put that avatar on your website, you can collect orders, and then you can sustainably print them here and then cut and sew on demand, so you never sit on any inventory. And then we can embed digital product passports into those garments so that it tells the story. You can tap your phone onto the garments and you can actually see who made it, when it was made, where it was made, why it's special, all the things that are adding the value to that garments, because you have to be able to charge more for something that you're making in small batches domestically. So, you got to be able to educate your consumer, and that's what our digital product passports do. So I'm going to show you a quick video that demonstrates all of that put together, hopefully. Oops, no, I'm not. Hold on, I'm going to go back and try it again. Here we go. So this is the CAD software to make the patterns. This is the avatars and what they look like stitched up. This was an inspiration of a butterfly print that was embedded into the pattern pieces. It's a circle pattern. And then we can take that, the engineered prints, and we can print that out. Those are the patterns that we print on white fabric to be able to engineer unique prints. So this is what our sustainable printer looks like. I'll show you after if you want to take a tour of the factory and see what that printer's like and what all the equipment is like. But then you can make those engineered prints. And then you can see what it's going to look like on your avatar and use that for your marketing. This was actually Eco Fashion Week. It took place here last year. And then you'll see the digital product passport. So the audience got to tap their phones onto all the garments on the runway and see exactly how it was made, who made it, and all the brand's information and everything they need to know about it. And the cool thing about those passports is they're updatable. So the brands can even reach their consumer after they bought the garment and tell them, hey, I have a new print, or I have a latest version of this as well. And then your consumers become your marketing team because they're sharing that on social media. It goes back to that brand video that has all of your brand information in it. So this is what we feel is the future of fashion. This is the answer to that unsustainability and what the industry needs. And this is the only place in the country that you're going to find that end-to-end technology all under one roof and accessible to brands of any size. That's what makes it so special. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is a nonprofit. We do all of this fueled by passion and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So the mission of our nonprofit is to provide apparel entrepreneurs with training, guidance, innovative industry resources, and access to no minimum and on-demand, batched on-demand manufacturing so they can build sustainable fashion businesses domestically. So democratizing fashion. Our vision is basically to create a new industry, to make it more circular, to make Arizona the home of the new industry. LA and New York, they're old ships that are having a hard time turning. They've got the old ways of doing things. We've got the opportunity here to start from scratch and make it better and make it more innovative and everything. And that's what we've been pushing here for a lot of years. As a nonprofit, we've given over $13 million in free and discounted programs and services back to the community. That's how we earn our stay in this beautiful City of Tempe building. We've helped over 2,000 apparel entrepreneurs at this point. So 2,000 different people have come through our doors, used our roadmap and our resources to make own products and start their brands. All of you hopefully are now free members because as you attend events and things like that, you hopefully are getting signed up for a free membership. As a free member, you get all kinds of perks. You get to attend events. You get to actually, if you're in the industry, you get to put yourself in our industry directory. We have a free business directory, so don't forget to add yourself to the directory. It's one place to find all fashion businesses, so models, hair, makeup, photographers, stores, designers, everything. There's also an events calendar that you can share all of your events, so there's one place to find all fashion events. We also host a ton of events that are free. We want to make these opportunities affordable for designers and affordable for people to come and sit and watch. So we do Eco Fashion Week every year, and you can participate in that for free and all kinds of other events. I've been producing an event for 22 years in Arizona called the Label Horde Fashion Show that includes 60 local designers. We only charge $40 to be in that. So we try to make these free opportunities or these really affordable opportunities for people to participate in fashion. And then we have a free sourcing library here where you can find your wholesale materials and trims. So you don't have to wait to the next textile show and travel all the way to LA or New York to go to it. We have $5 consulting every Friday. So you can ask me anything and I'll be there to help you as your technical designer or your production manager or whatever you need help with. And we have a classifieds page. So if you're looking for and lots of opportunities to sign up for our newsletter, share all the opportunities and that you know what's going on. And we have classes and things like that. And this event is free every month as well, so that we can teach everybody something different about the industry and give you this opportunity to network with each other. We also have apparel entrepreneur memberships, and those are for people who are getting into cut and sew, and they need that guidance for production management and quality control that I was talking about. So we have a roadmap that guides you through everything so that you can actually get a product developed and manufactured and made in small batches using all of this technology. And also it helps you start your business and brand it and market and everything. But you can kind of learn that stuff anywhere. So our core thing with the roadmap is the stuff you can't learn anywhere. It's the actual design development and manufacturing stuff, how to write a cutting ticket, how to write a grading and marking ticket, how to QC your fabrics, how to QC your marker, how to QC, how to spec, how to draw your technical flats, how to cost your garment, all the things that you don't learn until you're actually trying to do it when you're starting a business, and it's not something that's really very easy. So all of this guidance is in our roadmap, and that's what we scholarship people into, and that's how we give back to the community. So we actually scholarship 240 minority, veteran, disabled, and financially challenged people into that roadmap, so they don't have to pay the regular $350 a month fee for it. And that's our biggest gift to the community, to democratize fashion. All right, now that you've kind of heard a lot about fabric and you understand why we're here today, yay! The reason that we do this is, like I said, we can learn something different about different parts of the industry. We can meet somebody who's been there, done that. We can hear their journey. We can, get some insider knowledge from them, and we can all come together and network and learn from each other and bond. We need to keep coming together like this, so that, because we're all going through the same thing here, we can all utilize each other's connections and efforts and boost each other up, right? So this month, our special guest is Tracy Thomas, and Tracy and I go back maybe like 6 years or so, and it was because Tracy actually, when she first started her garment league that you're going to learn a lot about today, Tracy awarded me an award called the Humanitarian Award. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. And I'm like, I get so excited about this person who I haven't met yet, and that she has the same passion that I have. She's trying to move forward the fashion industry in Arizona. We need more people trying to do that. And so I was like so excited that there was another person that was trying to help with these efforts, because I've been trying to do this since 2001, and it's a Herculean thing to do. So the more and more people that can join me in these efforts is just amazing. So instant bond and instant appreciation for everything that Tracy has done. And I thought, when we were putting this together, I want to learn Tracy's story. Like, how did she end up in Arizona? How did she end up creating the Garment League? What is her history? I know she's got so many skills, and she's a designer, and she has all kinds of businesses. Let's learn all about why and how this came to be. So let's give Tracy a big round of applause and invite her up. I'm so excited. Yay! Make yourself comfortable. Are we sitting, standing? We're sitting. Yes. Oh, yeah. Just push that. Hold it for a second. Is it on? Do you see the green light?
Hello.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear both of us? Okay, perfect. All right. So Tracy does a lot of things, and we're going to learn about all of those things. But before we get there, we got to go way back. Not way back. No. We got to go back. And, and we're going to learn a little bit about where all of this started. So I always ask all my guests, tell us about you as a baby or a child, and, a little bit about maybe what led to this.
I mean, I think I still have that little smirk today. Anybody that knows me knows that face. But that little kid, full of dreams and crazy and wild, you know what I mean? And wanted the world, good kid. I loved family. I just remember family. And we have a really close-knit family, and that's what it was about, And I don't even think I was in school then. I went to school. I'm the youngest of my mother's crew, and my sister and brother was having their pictures taken that day, and I just went, and they took my picture. So that's that smirk. So
yeah. You're one of three.
Yes, my mother has three. I'm the youngest of on that side, and my dad has three, and I'm the oldest on that side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, you are adorable. I saw this
you.
picture and I melted. You're so cute.
We listen and we don't judge.
I mean, there's already some fashion happening here. So tell us.
Yeah, same thing. The forehead is something serious, huh? But yeah, I mean, I think I've always loved fashion. You can hence the shirt there. But I think you'll see in the next few slides, my grandmother probably was my biggest inspiration. Being that age, she had this huge, what I thought was huge jewelry box and all these wigs and clothes, and I will be planning her stuff. And it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago I actually went and she has the same jewelry box, and it's like it's not even big,
You're like, it was
So
this big.
yeah. But in my head, as a child, that's what I remember. Just
Oh.
So
Oh
definitely my
my gosh, my
inspiration.
grandmother is my inspiration too. And she had jewelry, like that was her thing too. Like she just collected so much jewelry. And
Yeah.
when she passed away, I inherited it all because it was all oversized, like kind of statement pieces, and nobody else in my family would wear it. They were like, this is too gaudy for me. I'm like, I will take all of it.
Yeah.
You give me all of those giant jewels. I'm all over it.
Yeah.
Grandmothers are special.
And she's still here, 80, 86,
Oh, wow.
and kicking it. Drives and at the casino, and still dresses sharp every day. So
That's
yes,
amazing. So she gave you your fashion, your love of fashion.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Oh, chum, that's my baby, y'all.
Oh.
This is really important because the ones that are close to me know my story. But if this person that I am today would not be here unless it was for this child here. I was 14 years old, had a baby, and at that time it was I was telling you, it was a true epidemic. It was teen pregnancy was a thing. And, I come from a really large but prominent family in Kentucky. And so failure was not an option, So, I had the entire family supporting my sister, my brothers, helping me with this kid. And, we did it. The whole family was on board. And, and I think that I wasn't going to just be another story like that. And so because of Shay, I just put my heart and soul, and I knew that I was going to do something. And I want, and that's my biggest goal, is to make my kids proud. So yeah.
Oh, I bet you're really proud. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. What motivation and what a drive. I mean, at 14, I mean, you had to go through school and still do all the things that a 14-year-old needs to do and balance all of that. So that's really incredible. I mean, amazing. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Nothing that I would, recommend, but if it happened, there's ways to still be successful and not just be another statistic.
Yeah, you could easily let that take you in a different direction, and you chose to own that and like let it empower you. That's amazing. I love that.
This is my, I showed this picture to my mom and my grandparents. My grandparents I guess that was my first touch. My dad too, but being an entrepreneur, they ran a really successful taxi company. There was only minority company that was doing it in Kentucky, in Louisville at that time. And so, I think because of that and the drive, we come from a good family that they wasn't gonna just leave me and drop me. And that's my granny over here, the one that my inspiration for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and earrings. Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah.
So your parents were entrepreneurs, and that gave you that entrepreneur blood running through your veins.
I think, at that time, my mom, was very understanding. And I'm like, I really want to go to school I always loved fashion. And I knew it was something. And I'm like, I really want to go. I want to go to New York. And I just remember her saying, and I say it to some of my kids now, you got a couple more times to bump your head. So do it. If you think that this is what you need, and it's exactly what I needed, because being there just gave me that push, and I was doing everything for him.
So at the time, how old were you? Was this like in high school that you started to realize that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was always into fashion, and would put my clothes on, and like no other. And
did you do the typical like I'm gonna make clothes for my Barbie kind of thing that everybody always says? Yeah. That's where it all starts always for everybody.
And then it was just at first I thought about staying closer to home, and thought about a school in Chicago. But then I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta go, to the best. So, just saying.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I didn't know how it was gonna happen. It was just I prayed about it, and applied, and I needed to do a creative submission. And being in, from the Midwest at that time, I'm like, Isaac Mizrahi was my favorite designer back then. And something just told me to reach out. And I thought I was just contacting the PR team. And he's actually sent me all these things and, to help me do my creative submission. And it was pretty cool because I'm like this little girl in the Midwest, and you got, Isaac Mizrahi were on the phone, like it was a thing.
That's incredible. Like, how did you
Yeah.
even find the contact information for him?
Like I said, it had to be God. I mean,
That's
because,
crazy.
and he's still probably one of my favorites today, even though it's not, back then he was like at the top,
Yeah. This was his heyday.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think that, he's always been really humble. And I don't know if I just, approached at the right time, but
I mean, does he answer all the info at Isaac Mizrahi emails or like what? Obviously, I didn't have emails back then, but is he answering the phone? Like, I don't get it.
It was really crazy. I reached out like that, and it happened. And I was accepted, and, and that's all it took.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was that project like? What did it look like?
It was really cool. I had it was like a runway, and it had these, like, I had an engineer help me. It was like these mechanical, like, mannequin kind of dolls that were like 12 inches that actually moved up and down the runway, and it had his designs that was, a part of the inlay. And I don't know, it's been so many years ago, and I always thought I would keep that, and I don't know what has happened to any of that.
Oh man, not
Yeah.
even any photos or anything.
No, as you know, I'm ancient.
Oh my gosh. Well, you
So.
stop that because that makes me ancient too. So
Yeah. It's funny.
I would love to have seen this. This sounds really incredible. Did you make the clothes for it and everything yourself?
Actually, the package that was sent had all these little, like, miniature, like, sample clothing, and all I had to do was attach it, figure out how it was going to maneuver around this runway, and it's pretty cool.
That is the coolest submission they probably ever received.
Yeah. I think, and this is New York. Being there is so expensive. So I probably had 3 or 4 jobs, while going to school. And then on the side, I would model as well and try to make, money because we need it.
Wow. So did you go there by yourself?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so Shay had to stay behind, and
he did, but he came the way we had it set up. He was there all the time.
Yeah.
So and he would come, and my, roommates, because back then, I mean, the rents was back then like $3,000, and so he would come and run everything, so yeah. But yeah,
this is I love our synergies because I paid some bills modeling as well through high school and college.
Yeah.
So we have so much in common. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I do. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We gotta talk. Yeah.
Although mine were not as classy as this, I have to say. There's a lot of bikini modeling and things.
And the crazy thing is, I mean, I'm really a shy person. I really am. People don't think that, but I really am. So, like, that was total. I mean, it will push me out of my comfort zone for sure.
Yeah. So is this torture for you right now, what we're doing?
I mean, I know everybody, really, so it's okay. Yeah. This, when you go to FIT, you can kind of, the city is your playground. So we had an opportunity to work all of, the New York, fashion weeks back then when it was still called 7th on 6th. I don't know, anybody old enough to remember that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, no.
And that was the tents at Bryant Park, and we had an opportunity to help with production and things like that, and be able to see everything coming together. I think that's my love, why I love shows so much, and like high production shows, because we were able to be a part of all
the
of
real
that.
Deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's why I always say when people are like, oh, I'm going to New York Fashion Week. No, anyway, that's for another time. But and then after that, my first, let's see who's old enough to remember. But my first salary job, like real deal, I'm making money now, was at J. Peterman.
Elaine Bennis, anyone?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Had to
So
get to write copy for the catalog.
right. But that was a really cool time. And I was a technical designer for women's wear. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. So I just learned something new. I didn't realize that you were a technical
Mhm.
designer. That's amazing. So you had to do, so this is a good teaching moment. So anybody who, is new to this industry, tell us a little bit about what your day looked like as a technical designer. What were you in charge of? Plus, this is at a big company, so it's
Mhm.
different everywhere you work. Like it depends on how many roles you have to take on if you're at a
Mhm.
small business versus like a big one that has one person to do each thing.
Yeah.
So it's not always the same, but let's hear.
Yeah, we had our own. The technical designers had their own department. I think there were probably 8 of us, and we all had different divisions that we were over. So we would work with, the buyers or the production, and do the fit modeling, and then and all of that, schedule the fit models, do the gradings and specking. And by at that time, it's not like it was today where we actually had to correct the grade, send it back, wait for it, so technology has changed so
Yeah.
much. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because you actually got to really learn technical design, what I mean, like the real deal.
When you do something by hand,
Yeah.
that's the real deal.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, it's something about like if you learn something digitally, like you don't get that. It's kind of like reading a book
Yeah.
that's paper versus what, and there's just something you're missing there.
And I remember they were going to come out with the Gerber machines. I'm like, I don't want no parts of that. And but yeah, it's just
We use
different.
Gerber here.
Hmm.
It's a challenge,
Yeah.
to learn all of that stuff. But there's something to be also said about like the ease and efficiency of being able to do it with the technology too. But I agree, you got to learn it by hand first. It's just like sketching. You got to learn it by hand first, and then then you can use the technology to make it easier for you. But don't dive straight into the technology.
Yeah.
Brandon, can you still hear us? I feel like the mic doesn't sound as good as it did before. Great. Okay, good. Okay.
Okay. Well, brings us kind of to a little bit current. The last 8, 9 years, we created my husband.
Wait. Before you say that, let's stop back up a little bit.
Okay.
You were in New York, you're working for J. Peterman.
Mhm.
How did you end up in Arizona?
Well, after I left J. Peterman, I started my own style agency in Indiana, because they didn't really know what to do with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm bringing this knowledge in from, East Coast. And, I represented, makeup artists, designers, and what it was the first real style agency in Indiana.
And how did
So
you end up in Indiana?
that's where my family was there.
Okay.
My family was there. And then I got here, my son was here. And we came, we visited and loved it. And he was actually here first, and we followed him. And now all of my family is here. So it's crazy.
What brought him here?
uh Love. I think just a change of pace. I think that at that time, Arizona was probably good for him, and being how he was, and not how he was, always been a good kid, but they would pick on my baby all the time, and I think that it makes sense for him to be here. It's out of trouble, and being here. And he has always had, businesses. He was 18, had his own body shop. Yes.
Nice.
And so, those are things, I mean, we just have it in us like that. But, we saw, and we loved it here. And I had clients here too that was going back and forth from here to Indiana. And I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, I can, yeah. So
you got the entrepreneur bug also from your mom. Yeah, that just runs deep over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
now
it's all
you're
good.
here. And
So I think as far as On Central, that's like my heart. I mean, because there was On Central before there was a nonprofit. And so at that time when we came, anywhere that I've lived, I always try to live downtown, is just my thing. Just, I guess, because of New York, like the hustle and bustle, I just need something. Well, at that time, Phoenix wasn't doing nothing downtown.
right.
But because of my daughter, going to her school and picking her up, at that time, Mayor Stanton would always be there, and she'd say, there's the mayor over there, and he's always, no big deal, he's always over here. I'm like, I need to talk to him. And so basically, when I talked to him, I'm like, we need fashion downtown. and it was a challenge. It was like, well, can you do it in 6 months? Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I can do it in six
I can do
months.
anything.
And I was terrified, but and I came to my husband, I'm like, listen, this is, and he's like, I'm gonna be down with you, but we're gonna do this one time. I don't know about this, and I'm like, it's gonna work, it's gonna work. And we were able to, first is shut down Central Avenue, which was a process.
Oh my God,
Um,
I can't even imagine the red tape that must take.
yeah, you sure was. You sure
Yes,
was.
Gail.
Yeah. And just being able to shut down the street and meeting the right people in the city. And that's when I start getting into the city, like workers and things I needed to do. And so a lot of people helped us do it. And so now it's like second nature. Yeah, close the street, sure, but before that was like really
Copy and paste that permit application.
yeah, and sitting down with the police department, the chief of police, and fire, like I was intimidated,
Oh.
but it happened, and now they recognize the show whenever it comes up, they know it well, you know. So yeah, so on Central has been, this will be our 8th year, March 22nd. We this is usually like 250
Wow,
models.
time flies. I can't
Yeah,
believe it's going to be the 8th
yeah,
year.
yeah, and
Huh.
it's really, it's yeah, that's my heart right
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
and it really just serves as giving designers a platform to showcase and really have a high production show where they can and then that's my heart. I mean, just like what it is, we have a passion for it and we want people to succeed, and so I that's otherwise you wouldn't have a nonprofit because Lord have mercy.
Exactly.
um, it's really it's challenging, and your heart definitely has to be there. And this is, I think after this show, at that time, Mayor Stanton was like, "You really need to turn this into a nonprofit." And I'm like, "Really?" Okay, and didn't know anything about a nonprofit, but I understand where he was saying now because all the designers that were involved in coming from out of town, a lot of times they didn't really know the industry the correct way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that was the first thing. So to try to figure out what we're doing and tweaking. And over the years, we've tweaked so much. And, yes, we do adult education, but our primary focus is the youth. The youth has done something to us. I mean, we hold summer camp where 600 kids. These kids are doing everything professional makeup. I mean, film makeup. They're doing 8-year-olds doing ball gowns. It's
Aw.
crazy. Fashion illustration. So we really started, focusing on our youth because that's what it's about. And a lot of our kids, we've been, helping them in doing, their applications for FIT. So, and not that I want to be on this side, but it's like, it's really, for
That's
another
rewarding.
time.
That's the
Yeah.
motivation and the drive that
Yeah.
keeps you going. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny that you said 8-year-olds. Whenever we teach, it tends to be 8, tends to be the youngest that we'll teach how to sew,
Yeah.
but they pick it up so
Yeah.
much faster than the adults do. I've
Mhm.
always noticed that about children. They can just pick it up so
Yeah,
easy.
they're amazing. I'm just
Yeah.
looking sometime like, is this real?
I
And it
know.
really just, it keeps us going, so much that this last year's on Central, we actually put the kids designers in the front of the show and they, did their own collection and but this year they're actually going to have their own show a week before, the regular on Central show.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Right before, like
The week before, I think it's the 15th is when their show
it would be
is.
in the same spot, like on Central or
I
totally
think it's
different?
going to be different.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So
Got it.
still on Central somewhere, but I don't think that we can,
And what
shut that
month is
down
it that
twice.
you normally do this in?
March.
In March. Okay,
Mhm.
got it.
Yeah. This
Yes.
year, March 15th and the 22nd for
Okay.
the adult show.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Okay. So the one that you did where I was the humanitarian, was that the first one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo.
And it just was important
That was
because
8 years
like,
ago.
and when I came here and I'm looking and I saw what Angela was doing. And I think at that time it was just us and Brian,
Phoenix
and
Fashion Week. Yeah.
yeah, and so, and I'm seeing everything she's doing, and I know from that nonprofit standpoint and what they were doing, she deserved it.
Oh,
And so,
thank you.
and since then, every year we try to give a fashion humanitarian award,
Yeah.
and those are the ones that are really, in the, community and helping. So, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
Hmm.
thank you. Like I
Yeah.
said, it was a really big honor. And I was like, that's how I got to know what you were doing. And I just I mean, I still am just so grateful for it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, same. Thank you.
And what a cool show. I know how hard it is to produce these kind of shows, and you pull it off like amazingly. It's beautiful. Like
Thank
it
you.
just looks gorgeous. So
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite
Good
show. I
job.
think this was actually the first year when you were there. That was the
Okay.
first year picture, but
Wrangling 250 models. I don't even know how you're doing that. Like the show that I put on every year is 60 designers in it, and each has one model. And right there, that kills me. It takes me a year to put that together, and like I am over it at the end. Like I don't want to do this. So I don't know how you're doing 250 models.
And I think my team knows that after that show, I think we don't talk for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like nobody. Yeah. So
That's great. That's crazy.
And then that's just part of, on Central, my baby girl in the middle there, another introvert. And then my husband and I started the nonprofit together, and he actually was co-founder. And once it got up and running, he was like, bye.
Peace. It's hard. Not putting it together a nonprofit's difficult, and keeping it sustaining it is difficult too. So I feel you there too. And the amount of work that it takes, and passion, and like I said, blood, sweat, and tears. So how do you fund the nonprofit?
Big? No, I'm just kidding. No, fundraisers, anything that we've done throughout this year has, any shows we've did has went back into our youth program, and so that was the message, throughout the year.
So the shows are funding what you're doing. Got it.
Yeah. So, and then grants, of course, and there's a lot of people that they're understanding now. They're doing our tours, and they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know this was going on. So there's a lot of people that are paying attention. And so we have, private donors and everything else. But again, it
takes a lot of money to do these things, and
It's
it
tough.
takes like a full-time person that's your fundraising person that is continuing to make those efforts to write the grants, to reach out to the donors, to put together all the stuff, to keep it on the on social media. Like that itself is a full-time job.
And a lot of people don't know it's usually
wearing all the hats,
it's a lot of times,
because you can't usually, it's a catch-22 with a nonprofit. You can't really afford to pay the person that's going to sit there and do all of that, full time. But their goal is to make the money that comes in that can afford to pay their salary, so it's like a totally catch-22. Takes money to make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people can make a donation, and can they do that on the website?
Yes. And we have all of our classes listed on there, as well. And I know there's a lot of things we need to one thing about the industry, we have been great, but there's a lot of divide. And I don't really like that. I've never lived in a place where we've had this much division. And if we just come together, Phoenix will be.
Oh, we have so much potential here.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many designers. There's so much going for Arizona in the first place. The whole, everything about it, politically, about like the cost of living, about cleanliness, about new, support for new industries. I mean, Greg Stanton is very supportive of as a congressman too, of trying to move forward those missions. I mean, we have a whole mission to be a circular supply chain, and like we just need to all band together and say, somehow the state needs to support an industry here, and they do that in other states.
Absolutely.
Like there's money from the state to support the fashion industry in New York. So
and I think people, when they think of fashion, and I say it all the time, they think of it as, we're playing in glitter and fabric all day. And it's really, I mean, fashion makes the world go around.
Every human on the planet wears clothing. Like it's one of the biggest industries on the planet.
So,
it's like a $4 trillion industry or something like that. I mean, it's like,
so there's got to account for something.
So. And even, I mean, around here, we're not really even making ball gowns and things like that. We're making what we're all wearing right now, like that's fashion. I don't think people really even realize that. I agree. We all need to come together and just try to move this forward for our state and put us on the map.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
This is one of my favorites now too. On Central will always be my baby, but Phoenix Swim Week is the next runner up. You know, and I think there's how many? It's more like 150 models.
Oh my goodness. You're
Um,
brave.
but it's just a really cool show. It was so surprising that Phoenix hadn't had as hot as it is. We didn't have a swim week,
Yeah.
and so saw the opportunity and took it.
Well,
So,
okay, so I have a question about this. That I've always thought the same thing. I'm like, shouldn't this be like the swim capital of the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And shouldn't there be like a ton of swimwear designers? But out of the hundreds of designers that we have helped develop apparel here, I can, on one hand, count how many made swimsuits. I'm like, that's really odd. Oh, that's right. You were one of the only swimwear designers in town 8 years ago when we were doing this. They are hard. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm surprised that there just aren't more of them here. So where do you find your?
There's quite a few here
Okay.
now. I don't think it was 8 years ago, but there's quite a few. I mean, most of ours, outside of one, they're all from the area.
And they have like a legit business
Yes.
making,
Mhm.
and are they making them themselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's the other thing is like the making it yourself is pretty challenging. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're a designer and you're wearing all the hats and running a business and you're the one actually sewing all the pieces, the amount of time that it takes you to make each one individually, how do you ever charge enough to make it
Yeah.
worth it for you? You normally don't. You normally can't. And so that's what puts most of the small brands out of business is trying to scale from that into manufacturing, you know, and not understanding manufacturing and not having resources. That's why we exist, is to help them be able to do that. So we need to support these local designers to be able to scale from doing everything themselves out of
Yeah.
their own homes, because there's just no way to.
And it's great because they can do their samples and then bring it on over.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll figure out a way to
Yeah.
bridge that, because I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Because there should be a whole bunch of manufactured swimwear in Arizona, of all places. This is what we should
Yeah.
specialize in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Florida's got a good market on that. Yeah, because we don't have a beach, but it's pretty dang hot. Yeah.
Los Angeles, not Los Angeles, like Vegas. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But on the West Coast, I mean, we could really.
the West Coast, you got, come on now.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, we got a lot going for us here in Arizona.
Well, I invite you to Swim Week. It really is it's a beautiful show. Yeah, this is very tasteful.
Okay, when does this take place?
It's usually the last weekend in July.
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah. So. This year we were actually we did it on the 11th floor. This will actually be our 4th year coming up. So we did it 11th floor in August 3rd at Arizona Center. It was the first time utilizing that space. Yep. Phoenix Man, this is our 2nd year. It's a really cool show. Man, it's so relaxed. You know, all men's cast. And it's probably what, about 45, 50 men. No issues. No issues whatsoever. It's a really cool show. We partnered with Roosevelt Row, and we do it, in November.
November. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. And what clothing is involved in this?
So the designers will menswear, just all menswear. There's a couple of designers.
Local and beyond, or
yes.
Okay. So are all your shows local and beyond? Got it. Great.
Yes. And then Polyester is our sustainable show, and it's really cool. It's like doing the upcycling and things like that. It's a really cool show.
And what month is that?
That's in July. Hot. We're gonna go inside.
So you manage both of those shows, like right around the same time?
Yeah, but Polyester is it's a smaller show for sure. So shows like that are Phoenix Man. We can kind of do with our eyes closed because the Tableau show that we were just talking about, that's our window show, and actually that show came about because of COVID. During On Central, one of the years, they were like shut us down, like you can't do anything, you got to be social distancing. And we just had the idea. We were at Park Central at that time. Like, we're going to give each designer a storefront and put live mannequins in there, and people can walk past and do the social distancing. And it actually just stayed with us. And so we have an exhibit up now at Arizona Center. The first night we did live models, which, had a few people that participated. And then now that that's over, then we have like mannequins in the windows, and that show will be up until the weekend after Christmas.
It's kind of like a public art display.
Yeah. And it's really cool, especially places like that. And, where it used to be shopping, and it just puts you in the mind frame of, window shopping.
Yeah.
And they really need more retail down there. So that's my hope, that we can bring more.
Inspired that.
Mhm.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love that.
This like busy. So the Tracy Thomas is my own brand. Cabana, I started probably during the first swim week. I had started taking classes for swimwear because I couldn't find, like you said, swimwear is hard. So I started doing classes online, and kind of like, I like it a lot.
So Cabana is your brand,
Yes,
and you
swimwear.
make the pieces, and you just went and learned how to do it online.
Yeah.
Gosh, Tracy.
Yes, I mean,
busiest woman ever.
it took a while. You really have to be disciplined to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think I get excited more about that than other stuff these days. So, but yeah. And then Scout Model Management is a boutique modeling agency. And we have about 30 models on roster, and from acting to modeling gigs to whatever. So,
oh my gosh, how are you juggling all of this?
barely. Just a team, they think I'm crazy half the time. But I don't know, it gets done. I don't know how, but it gets done.
Wow. So how often do you get to design a new collection for your Tracy Thomas line?
And I can't even lie, I have not concentrated on that.
Well, I can't imagine how you would.
Yeah, but
so it's been a few seasons.
It's been, yes, absolutely.
Because you're liking the swimwear better.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's been a minute.
Well, I like that you're doing the swimwear. That's cool.
Cool.
Like I said, I think we need more swimwear here.
And I guess like I said, the reason why I go hard, those are my kids. Again, just want them to, understand what has been done here, and, not that they have to, everything we do, they're really creative kids anyway. So I just want them to, again, know what's going on and be proud if I'm not here anymore. I don't want it to just stop with me, So yeah.
It's a tall order, guys. Are you ready? You have to step up and run the Scout Model Agency, put on the On Central Fashion Show, design the swimwear collection.
Yeah.
And was your daughter the one that had those beautiful illustrations? Am I
Yes.
correct? Oh my gosh, you're so talented.
She is very talented. I can't try to push. She's a true artist, a true introvert. We can't even ask her to do anything. She'll do it on her time. But yeah, she's very, very talented.
Yeah, so it looks like a lot of talent passed down into the generations of your family. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And these are my babies. These are my grandkids. Yes, I'm a grandma.
Aww.
Cool. I'm Mama Tracy.
That's your grandma name?
Mama Tracy, yeah. And yeah, I mean, those are Kennedy is a designer. She came out, she did On Central. This girl is crazy.
How old is she?
19.
Okay.
She's at Clark University. She's studying, she's minoring in fashion, but she can look at, she did swim week, but she can just look at it. And when she's in town, I mean, stuff is everywhere. And she'll ask the question, should we do it like this? I'm like, and I don't know. She's amazing. She really is. Awesome. She's really good. And so she's doing a lot of, commission pieces in Atlanta. Yeah. And then Levi these are Shay's kids. And then, of course, the boss is Dreams.
The
And
boss.
yeah, she just running everything. So yeah,
Oh my gosh, you must be so happy and proud.
yeah, they make me happy.
How fun to be a
Mhm.
grandma. Mm.
And then here, just a close knit family. I've got my siblings here, my nieces, my niece, nephews.
So you dragged everybody to Arizona.
I don't know how they're here. I think it started with him, and so now we're all here.
You dragged everyone to Arizona.
And so, but it just was a blessing because my sister Renee, my niece Keisha, they drink like Aline. They all are really. They just help. I mean, they just stepped in there and they kind of like took some pressure off, and that's why he was able to be like, bye.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So they help you with all of these businesses
Yeah.
and everything. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
yeah,
My family helps here too, so that's a really
it's a blessing.
amazing thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to do that without that kind of support. It's
Yeah.
great that you have that family support. So important. It really
Yeah.
is. That's kind of what it takes. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, oh my gosh, I'm blown away by how much you do. I want to give you a huge round of applause for sharing all of that. Wow. I don't know how you do all of that. First of all, I thought we did a lot here, and I'm here like 16 hours a day. So I don't even know. I couldn't imagine doing these back-to-back shows. All these shows that I used to do a lot of shows and I stopped. In fact, we don't do the Label Horde Fashion Show every year anymore because it's just too much. We do Eco Fashion Week every year, but that's about it. Like that kills me already. Like it takes us an entire year, to do that. And I'm with everything else we're doing, I can't imagine doing that more than that. So the amount of work that goes into events, right, alone is already just, and the fact that you're doing so many of them and they just take place throughout the year. How do you manage your time? Like how do you find enough time in the day? How many hours a day are you working? How many days a week are you working?
I'm up. I mean,
I had a feeling she doesn't sleep.
I go to sleep I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I'm
Hold it
sleeping too
closer.
long, if I'm sleeping too long, you just missing out on something. Yeah, I'm up. I mean, if something has to be done, you just stay up to finish it.
Oh man, you and I have so much in common.
Yeah.
We're probably up at the same time,
I'm gonna
thinking
text
like
you.
we're emailing somebody at 3 a.m. for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I have so many more questions. We're going to open this up for questions now for everybody to ask. So I don't want to monopolize the questions. I'm sure everybody has some. So does anybody want to start? Does anybody have a pressing question? Because if not, I have a whole bunch. So feel free to raise your hand and I'll bring you the mic. Yes.
Can we know what is your biggest dream?
My biggest
Your
dream.
biggest dream?
With fashion.
Like if she could do something that she's not already doing? Well, come on, you're gonna put more pressure on this girl.
Idea. So I just wondered if something coming out, something new.
If there was something that you aren't already doing, what could you be? If you had like endless amounts of money and support,
Yeah.
what would you do?
I think the next thing that we're kind of working on and where I would probably leave, any type of like a trade school for sure.
A trade school?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, we definitely need to talk.
Mhm.
Yes, that's a good question. All right, anybody else? Yay.
The world of fashion. The world of fashion has been influenced by many countries. And I know when I looked at it, I was always in awe of France and Paris and, the whole Coco Chanel. And then Milan is a wonderful space. But I also remember I was taken back when I saw Tina Turner on the cover of German Vogue. So I never even thought of Germany as a country influencing that much into the realm of fashion. But you mentioned New York sort of being heralded as domestic fashion capital. And I was just wondering, do you think we're ranking as high with some of the social changes, with some of the influences? Because people still travel to go to Paris or Milan Fashion Week or Australia Fashion Week. And I know everybody is in their camp doing their thing. But part of the charge that I shared hearing from Angela a few weeks ago was that the industry has to really look at itself. And if we're looking at itself, and one, we've identified a weak spot in sustainability, do you think we're leading that charge? Because one, we have to be competitive, and then we have to have that support as well. But do you think, if someone said, I'm a domestic designer versus the plethora of designers in Milan, the emerging African designers, the designers all over the world, and now we're competing for resources, just how do you see that change taking place?
Do you mind if I weigh in on this a
Go
little
ahead.
bit? So actually, the U.S. is pretty far behind when it comes to the sustainability part of fashion. European countries are always way ahead of us in fashion, and now they're already way more advanced on how to solve these problems. In fact, the digital product passport that I was talking about that we're implementing here, that's already a law in some European countries, so that you have to show the transparency of where your fibers came from, how it was manufactured, and all of those things. And it's just because it's all supported by, policy that's wrapped around that kind of stuff, where we don't have that here. We don't really have any kind of policy forcing us to change and to do those things. And that's really what it takes to make those kind of changes. So once again, we're behind, in that way, at least in the sustainability way. And the big brands are going to be extinct at some point. Trust me. Like, the model is so broken, and they aren't changing fast enough to keep up with, how much pollution and how much damage they're actually doing. And people care now. They didn't used to. When I first got in this industry, most people, they thought of sustainability as like tan clothing made out of rough hemp fabric, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really even thought about it. And now everybody cares. Like, everybody, the average person knows that fashion is messed up, and they're thinking more about it, where the small brands are now coming in. So instead of thinking country to country, I'm thinking more of small versus large brands. This is an opportunity for an apparel entrepreneur or a small brand to actually fix things, to do it better, to, make a name for themselves. Whereas the big brands, it's almost like too late for them. They're stuck in their old ways, and they're having a really hard time changing the way that they do things, So it's a renaissance, just watch over the next decade. The smaller brands are the rulers in this industry.
Well, we definitely have seen many of them come and go, and manufacturing influence in Asia has dictated. That was where I was at. Yeah. Okay. And in the sense that my business model, instead of focusing on certain things, I focused on the law of licensing and patents, because that was kind of what was of interest to me, being influenced by the New York designer Diane Fisher. But even Diane, as heralded as she was, I don't know if anyone would think of her in the same way as they would think of a great designer, Gucci, or somebody in some European country. Not as America's a younger country, that's impact. But I'd like to see that change. And so we have enough people influencing the industry as a whole with a dual mission, sustainability and viability.
We have an opportunity.
We have an opportunity.
Yeah. Do you have a thought on this? Okay. Thanks for letting me chime in. That's an important one. Yes.
I know you probably really big on everything happens for a reason in life, right? So, but if there was one thing that you can do differently, what would you think that would be?
Wait, what did you say? No, I would never change that. Probably, I probably would have stayed in New York. Honestly, that's my heart and soul. And, I'm not from there, but that is my baby, and and everybody that, my friends and everything are there. I just wish I'd stay a little longer. I'm not disappointed. I'm happy with what I've accomplished, but I feel like I would have done a lot more. I'll say that.
You know what? That is such an interesting thing. Again, I think we have some synergies. So I spent a lot of years in Los Angeles in the fashion industry and moved back here and actually had to shut my own brand down because there was no manufacturing resources here. And that was 2001 and what inspired me to create an industry in Arizona. And somebody asked me that same question at one point, and I kind of had a similar answer where I was like, I probably should have stayed longer just to, because all the resources were there just to be able to do that. But then I also looked at it like, you're just another fish in the sea in an LA and New York marketplace. A lot of people say they want to go to New York or they want to whatever. And I'm like, the opportunities here are just amazing. Like you can make a name for yourself so easily here. You can actually now have resources as well to actually make your clothing here. These resources don't even exist in LA or New York. So people from LA and New York are using our resources now because they can't find anything like this there. So I feel like we have this opportunity here, like I said, to really put fashion on the map, and we can't do it without somebody like you. So I'm glad you didn't spend more time in New York. We need the people that want to have that drive and that motivation, who have that experience from places like that, who can help us do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's where I get my industry standards from. And so, I mean, it definitely makes a difference. And I think there's so many people that are here now that are coming that will be able to, make a great impact. So we'll see. We just got to stay the course.
Yes, that's it. Can we stay the course? We need some sort of support from, state or something. If anybody's listening.
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Okay, let me give you the mic so online can hear.
I was curious, what is something that you do outside of fashion that has the most impact on your creativity? So what's something you do outside of fashion that has the most impact on your creativity?
Do you do anything outside of fashion?
I don't know. Shopping?
That's fashion.
I know. Probably, my grandkids, my kids, so yeah.
It sounds like it. I mean, again, similarities. I don't do anything other than this. Like, I don't have time for it. So I have a feeling that's where you're at. Like, it's just, there's not enough hours in the day to go have a hobby. You know what I mean?
She likes art. Like, you like puzzles and stuff. And you love,
I do
pictures.
puzzles.
And your
That's
dad
my
was
thing.
an
That's my
artist.
pastime. Yeah. Yes.
She knows you better than you know you.
Yes.
Puzzles?
Yes, that's my thing.
Like just the typical, like put the pieces together puzzles?
I mean, may not get done completely, but that's I do really like them. Yes.
That's great. Any other questions? Yeah.
Okay, there's no question that you are a visionary and an artist, but with regard to your designs and your brands, where do you draw inspiration from?
I used to, when I lived in New York, I just would sit in Central Park and watch people, or I'd go to the airport and I'd watch people. Here lately, and it's kind of sad because my husband had to shake me up because I really have not been focusing on my own stuff because my heart and my mind and my time is in the nonprofit, which is crazy because my side is for profit and I got to make money in order, but I think I people watch.
My gosh, Tracy, your answers are just like resonating with me. Same thing. I got my own brand, but I don't pay attention to it.
Really
that used to be how I
sad.
paid my bills. And the nonprofit is the thing that takes over your life. Yeah. But it's the passion, actually really enjoy what we do in the nonprofit. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't be doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. But yes,
But you want to get that creativity out. So you want to focus on your stuff. So when you're designing bathing suits, is it different than when you're designing clothing? Like, do you get different inspiration? I mean, does it come from different places?
Yes, I think this last thing that I did was, it's about, I was started looking at some like architectural type books, and it was about all about the lines, and I wanted just neutral colors throughout. So it was like so simple, but it wasn't, if that makes any sense.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, yeah. But other than that, no, you gonna find me TGL. That's just what it is, But and it's sad in a sense. But again, like I don't want to let any of the youth down, and any of the designers that we work with. I mean, that's what I want to do is make sure that they have a place to shine.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. And where are you currently housed? What's your location?
We are at First Avenue in Roosevelt, off Roosevelt, First Avenue, right next to Barcoa and Chico. Yeah, so that's where we have a little campus there. We have occupy 6 houses there, and that space is actually getting turned. The middle will be turned into or renovating for an place. So we'll be able to do shows or renting out for whatever, and they really are putting some careful thought into the planning of this renovation. So come see us anytime.
So how is that space so this is actually a City of Tempe building.
Mhm.
We earn our stay here by providing free and discounted programs and
I wish
services
we
to
had
the
that.
community.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything like that, or do you just
No.
literally pay rent there?
We pay rent,
Yeah.
a high rent.
Yeah.
But with the amount of classes and the different things that we're adding, we're actually getting pushed into a micro school for youth starting fall 2025, Fashion House. So where they'll do their digital learning at home and then come on site to do their the fashion projects and things like that. And so we're trying to figure out now if we're partnering with ASU Prep with this, or we've been approached a couple of different places because nobody really has that program when it comes to youth and fashion.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
And the event space thing, that's another thing. Like we have an event space that's our income generator. So that's a good idea.
So this is definitely going to be. I can't wait because should have been done a long time ago, but it would definitely help us, generate income
Yeah.
for sure.
Just a warning though, running an event space is its own animal. You need a whole
Yeah.
nother crew of people, and it's having a whole nother business and marketing that business to get enough
Yeah.
people to rent it out and all of that. So
Mhm.
yeah, we have a lot of
Appreciate
similarities. You have a question?
Speaking of youth, thank you for everything you do for us. Honestly, it's amazing and you give us so many new opportunities. But I was wondering, what made you dip your hands into like wanting to get with the youth and give them opportunities to do something new?
I think that with the fashion camp, we've been doing that for a long time. This is probably like the 14th year actually before any of this existed. But I think just seeing the way that they are, I mean, you can't. It's our future. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that people are when they come to see it and they see these kids in action and they're showing you this is what I did and I just put this invisible zipper. Like these kids are like proud of their work, and I think it's just that. I mean, it's just nothing better. You know what I mean? We have a little boy that designed his third time, sign is 13. He started his own jean line, and his jeans are commissioning for $200 each. So to these kids are like amazing. So I mean, I think yeah, it's all about them. They are our future. So when we are out of here, this is what we
That's
have.
the legacy.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely.
How sweet. Any others? Yes. One more.
Have you ever considered costume?
Yes, we actually have someone that's joining us that actually does costumes. Not really my thing, but we've been asked so many times that we think it's best to just bring her on board for that. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
somebody that's
Okay.
great at that. All right, one last. If there's any more, this will be the last one.
Clearly, you've got a lot going on. So I was just wondering if you could kind of announce for people who are watching online how anybody might be able to help you and the Garment League.
Get online, thegarmentleague.org. We take this, volunteers all the time. And it tells you everything that's going on. Send us an email. Show is coming up. March 22nd is our On Central show. We've been getting a lot of, inquiries about volunteers that way. There's always makeup artists, that Chantel will need. Yeah, we're not turning down the help. So yes, that's good.
Okay, that was our last question. I want to give Tracy one more round of applause. Thank you so much for opening up and sharing all that great information. I'm so blown away, and I'm so glad that we've connected and got to reconnect. And I want to ask if we could all do like a big family photo. I would love to put Tracy right here, and maybe you guys could just stay where you are, and you can just be right here, and I can take a photo of all of you guys. Does that work? Okay, cool. Okay, well, then we all need to scoot in a little bit. And then Tracy, like, make an aisle. She can stand in my family. Perfect. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me do this one. Don't blink. 1, 2. Perfect.
Do you like to be in the picture?
Oh, I want all of our pictures. I don't need to be in it. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Of the factory, we can go down and see it. Anybody want to go? Yeah. Want to go? Okay, I got the group. All right, so follow me, and we'll head down there right now.